You're in a dark bedroom, pinned beneath wet sheets while heat presses behind your eyes. Sweat gathers at your hairline. Your muscles ache against the mattress. A glass of water sits beyond reach, and lifting one arm feels like work. This is fever exhaustion. Your body feels heavy while it burns from within, and your mouth is dry enough that the untouched water seems impossibly far away. It feels like a random modern malfunction, a private betrayal by your own body during illness. The glass is still there. So is the thirst. That burning is not random, and it did not begin in this century. Infection is the pressure behind it. Fever is the inherited response that raises body temperature when infection enters the body. Ancient humans faced infection without a clean bed, running water, and rapid care. A defense that made invading microbes harder to sustain could preserve life. But the same defense carries a hidden price inside the modern body while fever runs. For tens of thousands of years, this response has moved through human lives as part of the body's answer to infection. It is not a rare quirk belonging to a few unlucky people. Nearly everyone alive carries the capacity for fever. A person can live among climate control, pharmacies, bright hospital corridors, and sealed windows, yet still possess a response shaped under conditions far older than any of them. That scale changes the feeling. Fever exhaustion can seem deeply personal because it happens behind closed doors, inside one aching body, during one night of illness. Yet the capacity behind it is shared almost everywhere people live. It crosses languages, cities, families, and generations without asking permission. You feel the weight of fever while your skin burns. For tens of thousands of years, the human body has carried this response to infection. The thermometer in your hand measures more than discomfort, though it cannot show what that defense will demand. Now the response can switch on in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. You are standing in a grocery store checkout line, holding a basket against your hip. Fluorescent lights glare overhead. The person ahead of you taps a card against the reader. Nothing around you looks dangerous. Inside, infection has already changed the body's priorities. Fever is active. Your temperature is being raised as part of a defense directed at an enemy too small to see. The store remains stocked. The doors open when people approach. The cashier asks whether you need a bag. Yet the body is not responding to the room. It is responding to infection. That is the unsettling divide. Modern surroundings can offer shelter, water, medicine, and help close by. The response does not wait for danger to become visible. It follows the signal it was made to recognize. You move the basket onto the belt and feel fever's strange heaviness under your skin. The infection is real, and so is the heat the body has raised against it. Somewhere behind that ordinary line of shoppers is the older world that made this response necessary. At dusk, an ancient shelter narrows around firelight. Beyond it, the ground is cold and dark. One sick body falls behind the group's movement, too weak to gather food, too thirsty to travel far, too drained to remain close when others move. Infection does not need claws to separate a person from shelter. It can bring heat, weakness, and dehydration from inside. A body that cannot walk, drink, or keep pace becomes exposed to cold ground and distance from the people carrying food and tending fire. Fever answered that pressure. During infection, the body resets its internal temperature upward. Heat rises above its usual level. That raised heat can slow the growth of pathogens that are sensitive to temperature, while the body's defenses act against what entered it. The response did not make sickness gentle. It made the invading microbe harder to sustain. In a world without a clean bed, running water, and rapid care, that difference could keep infection from taking everything a sick body still needed to move, drink, and stay near the group. The fire burns outside the sick body. Inside, another heat is being made. Your own skin can carry that same command during infection. turning warmth into a defense. Fever raises internal temperature above its usual level. In a clinic waiting room, bright lights hum over plastic chairs, and a person sits beneath a coat, shivering. The room is clean. Water is nearby. Help is close. Yet infection has entered the body, and fever has raised the internal target. That response still has a job. When the body detects infection, it can make conditions less favorable for temperature-sensitive pathogens. The person feels cold because the body is trying to reach the higher temperature it has set. Muscles tighten. Shaking produces heat. Under these conditions, the coat is not solving the central problem. The body is pursuing its own new temperature. This is not a damaged response acting without purpose. Infection remains real, even beneath fluorescent lights and beside a reception desk. The raised heat belongs to a defense that still confronts the microscopic threat. A nurse calls another name. The person pulls the coat closer and keeps shaking while the room stays warm. You can feel that split in your own body during fever, cold skin, and rising heat arriving together. The shiver is evidence that the body is still trying to reach a higher internal target. The waiting room is safe. The chair holds still beneath you, the lights stay on, and help is close. Yet your teeth begin to chatter under a coat because fever has raised the temperature your body is trying to reach. A few minutes later, the intake form sits on your lap. Your name, address, and simple boxes wait on the page. The pen stops. Attention has narrowed until finishing the form feels harder than it should. Infection is invisible, but the body has already shifted its effort toward heat. Then the chill passes through you again while the room has not become colder. The coat presses against your arms, your hands shake, and the new internal target remains above the temperature the room can explain. You look down at the unfinished form and the pen resting against it. Fever can make a safe chair feel like a place where the body must still prepare for danger. The heat is doing something, and the body is already paying for it. After midnight, you wake in a spare room with heat trapped under the blanket. Sleep has broken apart again. Your back and legs ache when you turn, and the small effort of shifting onto your side leaves you still. The infection is active, and the raised heat has taken the night from you in pieces. By morning, you stand at the kitchen sink with one hand against the counter. Water runs cold over your wrist. You drink, then drink again, but your mouth stays dry after sweating through the sheets. Thirst keeps pulling you back to the glass, while exhaustion makes the few steps across the room feel unnecessary and expensive. The losses collect without drama. Rest disappears first, then usable energy. A message on a phone remains half read because focus will not stay in place. A shower becomes something to postpone. Food, laundry, a doorbell, a conversation from the next room all require more effort than the moment deserves. Fever is built to make the body hostile to infection, not to preserve a comfortable day. That is why the response feels larger than the temperature itself. Heat changes what the body can spare. Aching muscles make movement costly. Sweat removes fluid. Broken sleep leaves no reserve for the next hour. The infection is microscopic, but the defense reaches into every ordinary task around it. Your fingers tremble under the running water, and your palm feels weak against the sink. Sweating removes fluid from the body. While infection remains active, the raised temperature keeps demanding energy, rest, and water. At a pharmacy counter, you wait beneath bright ceiling lights with a bottle of water in your hand. The room is cool. The clerk speaks softly. Yet your skin prickles, your jaw tightens, and the chill returns, because the body is still pursuing the higher temperature set during infection. That is the answer to the split between a safe room and a shaking body. The raised target answers infection, not the temperature around you. A blanket can warm the skin. A cold drink can wet the mouth. Neither removes the internal signal while fever is active. The old defense does not inspect the pharmacy, the bed, the clinic, or the people nearby before it spends energy on heat. You try to reason with the feeling because the room gives you every reason to relax. You tell yourself there's water, light, and help within reach. Then another chill tightens the muscles in your shoulders. You try to push through a conversation, but each sentence must cross fatigue before it reaches your mouth. You try to rest, but heat wakes you again. The body has not mistaken safety for danger. It is answering the infection that has entered it. Modern shelter cannot remove that trigger from inside the body. Infection can remain active while you stand in line, sit in traffic, answer a text, or wait beside a clean counter. The response continues because the signal continues, even when the setting offers comfort that ancient sickness never did. At the counter, your grip tightens around the water bottle while cold passes over burning skin. Fever can keep raising the body's internal target during infection. The full toll gathers wherever that heat follows you. You are seated at the edge of a conference room while a meeting begins around you. A screen brightens. Chairs scrape against the floor. Someone asks for an update, and you know the words you plan to say. Fever is active beneath your clothes. Heat presses behind your eyes. Sweat gathers at your neck. And the effort of holding your attention on one voice becomes its own task. You make it through the first minutes by staying still. Then your muscles begin to ache from the position you chose to avoid drawing notice. Your mouth dries. A glass of water sits beside a notebook, but lifting it feels slow. The body is already spending energy elsewhere. Exhaustion is not a side note to fever. Maintaining a raised temperature during infection demands energy. Heat, aching muscles, thirst, disrupted sleep, reduced focus, and exhaustion arrive as parts of the same acute burden. Infection triggers fever. Fever makes the body less favorable to temperature-sensitive pathogens. The defense that helps limit that microscopic threat also consumes comfort and usable strength from the sick body. Fever is not the sole cause of every ache or every heavy limb. Infection itself and inflammatory signaling also contribute to muscle pain and exhaustion. But the raised heat adds its own demand at the moment the body is already fighting what entered it. You lose sleep when the heat wakes you. You lose fluid through sweat. You lose focus when a simple sentence will not stay together. You lose movement when aching muscles turn a short walk into work. The meeting continues, but you feel the fever in your face, your dry mouth, and the weight in your arms. The room contains no visible enemy, yet infection is still active, and the body is still holding itself at a higher temperature. Fever reaches beyond the thermometer. It can disturb sleep, drain fluid through sweating, narrow attention, and make ordinary